So back at home, this is what the process ends up looking like. It's me sitting here for night after night after night. I put on movies after I'm done with all my daily chores and stuff, and I get out one of the buckets of stuff that I've collected, and I go through it so you can see some of these still have the oil on them. I use a little bit of mineral oil and a little wet rag, and these are all ones that I pulled out that I found to be so beautiful that I want to go ahead and buff and sand them. Perfect examples. I have nephrites and bowenites in there, and as I'm sitting here doing this, I'm also looking online. I'm learning about the different varieties. So if I've called some things bowenite that were actually nephrite, and some things, anyways, I am learning a lot. You sit and learn a lot, and then you think you know everything, and then you learn every time you turn around, you learn a new name for all of these different things. But then you also see the confusions, the Babylon effect, people using different names for the same stuff, thinking that they have the same materials or different materials. Anyhow, very, very interesting. So out of all of this, I've picked just a few that I wanted to show you, and then we can wrap this video up, because I'm not going to go through here and show you the 10,000 versions. There are 20 minerals in the serpentine group, many of them in their what we can call ideal form. I like that word, ideal form, meaning like the best version specimen of it. When it gets to gem grade, gem kind of being our word for what? For translucent, of the highest quality of its stone, of the highest grade. So kind of looking for the areas. I'm kind of always looking for the areas, the lines where a mineral in its grading, in its level of goodness on the way up to gem quality hits that line. What's below it, what's accepted, that itself can be relative to people's perceptions and stuff, and what's available in the area, and tradition, and just all kinds of stuff. So for now, that's enough babbling about that. Let's just go look at these specimens, and I'll tell you what I think they are. This is hard stuff to start to sort out. You got to look at real close. So I am using my reading glasses and a loupe and a flashlight. And when I get it home and I get little surfaces on it cleaned up, then I can start to see what's going on with the minerals and the fibers and stuff on the inside of it. And that gives me way more of a clue, because I'm of course looking for if I can identify the different minerals that it's made out of. And these are all from the mineral group of the serpentine. There's 20 different minerals in that group, and so you can get so many different varieties of that. So I'm looking to try and make sure that it's, if I can identify it visually on a almost microscopic level, what it's made out of. If it's composed of little fibers, little granules, what those minerals are. I can show you kind of some examples here. And then I'm also checking the hardness as good as I can. I'm going to do a whole video on that. I'm trying to order a set of different hardness picks and all that. It's more complicated than it seems at first. All things are. So we can talk about that at some other point. But doing general relative tests to try and get as close as I can as I'm just sitting there visually picking through stuff. Also reading stuff online, like I said, and holding it up and realizing, okay, this isn't fully turned into that, and blah, blah, blah. Let me just show you these. So this is got a horrible light on it, but I think that you can see there's really no way to show you this without this light. This is a piece, so I apologize for the light. We have better lighting on its way soon. This is just what I have to do. This all has mineral oil on it because I have not sanded very much of these, so it's really the only way to try and show you the micro details on this. Anyways, this is a piece of nephrite. It is hard enough. It's in the 6.6 to 6.5 range. It is got some very obvious details to it. In here right above my thumb there are some areas. There you go, that's actually better. So there are some areas right in here and on this back side here. It's always hard, you know, you turn a stone around 1,000 times by yourself and you spot the little clues. But this is nephrite. So this is condensed into this form. You can see all the different shimmer and schiller effect going on there because of the knitting and the weaving and literally the felting of the different minerals in it. And I think this is one of the best examples of nephrite. Of course, this has little or less inclusions of the other minerals that are usually with it than some, opposed to sometimes it's way more swirled together and has inclusions in it like this tremolite, and I am just guessing that it's tremolite. There's no way that I've done like microchemical tests or burn tests or anything on this, but because of the shape of those little crystals in there, I'm calling them tremolite to be like just a white form of tremolite. And wait till this is polished up, but you're looking a 1/4 inch down into this material. Now let's say an 1/8 inch. I don't want to exaggerate, but those details, see if I can get some on the back side here. If you can look right there, those details go way down in there. So those are little spars of actinolite crystals. Not actinolite, excuse me, of tremolite crystals. And this whole thing overall is a very knitted together, beautiful mass. You can see the color in there. So I'm assuming that that green is probably the green of the actinolite. And so I think that this is a beautiful specimen. You see the crystals down in there? Just wait till this is polished up and it's got a glassy surface and you can look deep into it. And this is actually slightly harder than the last stone that we looked at, so it's probably a 6.5. Yeah, I don't want to go into the hardness stuff, but make sure that when you're reading about the hardness of jade that you're reading about nephrite jade. And 6 and 6.5 are numbers on a scale. They're not relative to each stone. That's the Mohs hardness scale. So if you know things that are 6 and 6.5, it's scratchable. You can affect it with garnet sandpapers and all that. I've had people try to tell me that jade is unscratchable and unbreakable, and you know, you can take a diamond and smash it with a brick. This is a piece of actinolite. Let me zoom in here. And you can see that it has not knit together. It has not felted. I like the word felting if you've ever worked with fibers and felting. So it has not stuck itself together well yet. You can see how individual all of the crystals are. And I am assuming that it's actinolite, but some of the straightness of the crystals in here and the size of them, it could be an antigerite also. So these things all can be confused with each other. They look a lot like each other. They can all take on similar forms, but they all come from the same mineral group. And in this case, in these cases, these stones come from the same exact creation source. So if you can imagine 20 different minerals all traveling together in a mixed up gob, you're just pouring all of that into a mixing bowl and you're squishing that all up through the earth into different spots and locations, and it's all different mixes. There is quite a lot of variety, and a lot of them can be very similar, but if you were to take them down to their chemical and elements, then you'd end up with what you do, different minerals. So in the end though, it's apples to apples. You can appreciate all of their quality. You can appreciate a fine bowenite, a really high hardness serpentine, a really nice form of a antigarite or an actinolite, and its highest ideal grades, all for their beauty, for their transparency, for what we were talking about when you get to a gem quality. And so then that's when you can see the price spike up. So it's really that thing where quality can speak for itself. It doesn't matter what stone. And all of these minerals in this mineral group, when they get to that gem quality, can reach a high price. And for what they are, they have a lot of the same properties as far as energies and as far as their beauty and their strength and their uses in everyday jewelry and lapidary stuff. So, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I made this way too long. Here's a very flat foliated piece, hard and dark nephrite. I call this one nephrite. Probably cannot catch the details in there, but it's got a real classic, even though it's dark green, like a Big Sur reflection in there, a sheen, a schiller, and an overall look to it. It kind of spoke for itself and set itself aside like it was just a little felted piece of goodness. I think that the little things that we're seeing glittering and glowing down in there are actually, the different tremolite series minerals smooshed out flat would be my assumption. It's one of those things where I would really recommend that you educate yourself. Definitely try to educate yourself. This is a piece that I thought was nephrite. I brought this out because I spent all the time sanding it down, and there was no obvious fiber at all to it, no felting, and the color of it went dark black and soaked up the oil, and it's translucent green, but it just does not have the same overall properties. So it made me instantly think that I just had a piece of bowenite that I had mistaken, and kind of when you set them next together, you can tell the difference in the properties. I'm showing you a bunch of dark green rocks. I just wanted to let you know that there is a lot of background time in there, pieces that oh, look at that lens. Oof. Okay, I got a lot going on here on this desk. Get the spars in that one. So you either seen those pieces, or you will see those pieces, or you may never see those pieces. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. And if you've stuck around all the way to the end of this babble, I really appreciate it. And if you have anything to say or anything to add, please feel free to do so in the comments below. But yeah, here's... Okay. Quest on. I'll see you guys next time.